So this one's gonna be again about Tim Ferriss' Tools of Titans. And it's just like, an everyday intro, or it got an everyday intro, which is quite funny, I guess. And with that being said, hello, welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics fucking podcast. And I'm pretty fucking pumped as fucking always to be here and talk to you about certain things that I matter, or that I'm passionate about, or that matter for me, which is definitely those books, or which are definitely those books. But yeah, I hope you're doing great. And yeah, this time, to actually not waste any fucking time, this time we are going ahead with miscellaneous interesting ideas, which is, I guess, just, again, some sorta, or this time actually for sure, this, I guess, is a chapter where just everything is just put into that, the author of the summary wasn't actually able to put into the other different chapters he has been writing about in this summary. But yeah, I guess it is interesting. I hope at least. And yeah, I hope it's gonna be great. Yeah, and I'm probably gonna have to actually record 3 episodes today, because one for today, even though I would have been able to actually put out 2 episodes because I went home, or I was able to get home pretty quickly from school, because I think the next week, so today is Thursday, the next week is going to be the last week of school for 2019 actually, which is okay, which is great. I do then have just a lot of fucking time to do my stuff, but I also do just have to do my diploma and all sorts of other shit. So I think I gotta have to do enough, which is great, because I do really not like to be bored, something that I absolutely fucking hate. But yeah, we're gonna just start with this one after I've just wrote a message. I'm fucking sorry, but I gotta have to do this. So, miscellaneous interesting ideas. Not taking questions for what they literally are. Try to rework a question to focus on what you believe is the right thing related to the PR technique. Answer the question you wanted to hear. Sounds somehow a little stupid or a little crazy. Sounds just a little crazy, I guess. In response to Tim's question, who do you think of when you hear the word successful? Derek Sivers asks, this first answer isn't much fun because it's automatic. When you think of the word successful, who is the third person that comes to mind? Actually, a pretty nice one. I do just like both of them, I guess. Because first of all, the general question, okay, who do you think about when you hear the word successful? I think it's very interesting, but it's just also just maybe even just a bit more interesting to see what's the third person you're thinking about then. Because I guess this is actually a person you have to think about. I do believe that a lot of people just think about successful people, and they do just probably know just one of them or 2 of them. But I guess in terms of 3, I don't know. I think I would probably just name Gary Vee, of course, Jeff Bezos, and I guess Elon Musk, as I'm thinking about it right now. Whom have you been thinking about? Which is actually be very nice to see. Put it down into the comments, yeah. Or just DM me on Snapchat. Yeah, actually not that much on Snapchat, but please on Instagram and on Twitter and Facebook and Tumblr and Pinterest and everything quite. So in response to a question about favorite tech trends, Peter Thiel replies, I don't like talking in terms of trends, because that means people are doing it and there is a lot of competition. What I prefer over trends is a sense of mission. People who seem to just do it because they just need to do it, I guess, which, yeah, when I just hear this or when I just talk about this, I do just have to think about Elon Musk. I think he's literally such a person who is just doing what he likes to do and doing what he thinks is his mission, I guess, because I don't know, he's just working, I think, 14 fucking hours a day, or even more, maybe even 18 or 15 or something. So definitely he's working a fucking load. It's just amazing. It really is amazing. And only by just, watching how much he works, you can totally see that he's just fucking passionate about what he's doing, and he just, really cares about, SpaceX and Tesla, both of them, and also some other companies he has, I think. But I think these two are his main things, his main babies, if you want to say so. But yeah, I think you can just, you can just see it, if someone is just really passionate about something, or when something just really matters to someone. And I think you can also totally see when something is definitely not passionate about something that he or she is doing, and also just, when it does not pretty much matter. Catching cheaters. Louis von Ahn, or actually Louis von Ahn, if you pronounce it in German, or like Germanish, never mind, made a puzzle and called it something fictional like Chira McChristos. I'm gonna say it correctly. Chira McChristos puzzle. Then put the solution on his own website where he could track IPs. After a few times, no one did this anymore. Didn't get this one. But I guess didn't get this one. Use TK as a placeholder for things you need to research later. Few or no words in English language have these two letters together. So it's probably in terms of, written things as a placeholder. Okay. It definitely makes sense, I guess, because you can just really kind of detect it or see it just pretty fucking quickly, because if it is actually the case that just a really kind of small amount of words in the English language actually have a T followed by a K, I guess it would be a great tactic, or it would be just a great synonym, or just a great, placeholder for placeholders. Like, okay, to just use it as a fucking placeholder. I think it's great. Makes sense. Dealing with journalists. Record on your site so you can use the tape for your own purposes. Check that they're okay with repurposing the audio. Well, I don't know. I guess if you do just record yourself on your fucking own, I guess you do just have all the rights to publish and distribute all the things you have recorded. If it is about you, and I guess it was about you, or this is just about you, or us actually, depends on how you're thinking, but it should definitely be the case. There is something different about music and some shit like this, and also when there are just probably some other people that are speaking and or that they can be seen or something. I guess then it is not actually a case that you can just publish anything or everywhere the shit. But I think it also comes up to where you live, because in my country, so in Austria, the rules might be just, or the laws might be just completely different than in the United States or than in the United Kingdom or, England and, I don't know, Scotland and Germany. I don't know. I do think that there are just quite a lot of different just laws in terms of the whole redistribution and or general distribution of content. Feeling of belonging in mental health. Disasters like 9/11 decrease suicide, violent crime, mental illness symptoms. The reason could be that a feeling of collective belonging buffers people from their psychological demons. From Sebastian Junger, or actually Sebastian Junger, if you pronounce it Germanishly, or something like that. But I think it's quite interesting, isn't it? But as far as I kind of understand this, they just say, okay, people just feel better because they see that other people are also feeling bad. Could this actually be the case? Because it's about, the reason could be that a feeling of collective belonging buffers people from the psychological demons. As far as I just see there, or as what I see there is just what I've said, okay, never mind. Personal security. The funny thing is, or maybe not that funny thing, is that I think Facebook has spent, I guess, 4 million in 2018 for Mark Zuckerberg's safety and security and whatsoever, which is just a fucking load. I guess. And I was wondering whether there are just some bodyguards he's having, or, probably he has a lot of cameras at home and he has a lot of I think, people that drive him and something like this. Maybe he's just having just a really big fence around his fucking house or something. I don't fucking know, but it seems to be, a little critical, a little just bad. If you do just have to spend such a load of money, even though just, I think, compared to his wealth, it's not that much. It's still something, I guess. If you would just break it down into a smaller ratio, I think it would just be quite a load for the normal people if you just, calculate it down to into a relation where, into a relation, like to their wealth. But yeah, I think, I don't know if this is that funny to live this way, so that you actually have to kind of secure your family, secure just yourself, and, or actually being able, or actually, so that they actually have to kind of be aware of your own safety and kind of, have to think about your own safety. I guess it's, I don't know, like, it seems to be a little kind of crazy, a little kind of bad. Kidnappings are common when picking up at airports. They disguise and hold up your name, use a made-up name for your car reservation, or use Uber. So use a made-up name for your car reservation or use Uber. Well, I guess Uber is the place to go, or Uber is the thing to take, I guess. Even though, as I've read, I think it was actually a week ago something, in Austria, Uber might somehow die because of some reasons. I think it's because of some laws, because all these taxi kind of, well, it's not a corporation, but taxi companies, they have just really been thinking around and have been just really been fucked up because Uber's just taking their money. The problem that I see there is, okay, first of all, we in Austria have a kind of social economy, which means, okay, if there's somebody who is not doing well in the economy, he's getting just some money from the state. I think it's just, I think basically explained, it should be like this. And I do know that in some other countries, it's totally not the case. Then the case would actually be okay. If you're not able to generate your own money, you're gonna die, or you're gonna just, have to kind of, get bankruptcy, whatever. The thing there then is that, okay, nobody, or just a lot of people seem to use Uber, or they just like to use Uber more than they use taxis. And I do kind of just, I think I understand this. I don't know the pricing of Uber, unfortunately, but it should be interesting. I think I should just actually look that up. And I actually do not know whether just Uber is working in my area as well, because nobody's using it. Really nobody's using it. Might be just because I'm not living in a big city. It's just a really small city actually, but I'm actually commuting every day to a just really kind of big city. It's not really big. It's a city at least. I think medium to big, I would say. But I don't know. It doesn't also seem like that a lot of people actually use Uber. So I don't know. I really don't. But I find it a little bit like, well, yeah. I don't know. Well, it's a little fucked up, and I think it's a little bit dumb that actually those taxi companies, get money from the states, maybe additionally, or there are actually some laws, or I think there are some laws going to be made up. Or going to be made actually, so that Uber is somehow restricted in their kind of just so how they can actually participate in the economy in Austria or something like this. So I think there's going to be a law rather than some just additional money to taxi companies. But still, I think like, okay, if Uber is doing better than all the taxi companies, why would the state be just like, okay, I'm gonna take all the money off of you? I don't know if the states get some money out of those Uber drivers, because I don't think like this. I think a lot of money will go to the company Uber, but I think just pretty much no money will go to the state, in where these drivers are driving actually. And I think this might be just one of the reasons why the government actually says like, okay, we do just need the money, we do just want the money, so therefore fuck Uber. and just get more money into the whole taxi system so that we also get more money. Could actually be the case. I'm really not educated in such political shit. I don't know. It might actually be important to some degree. To some degree, it's not, I guess. But I think it's definitely it definitely makes sense that the political kind of situation in your country or in your state or something, and yeah, I think it makes sense. It really makes sense. You will never take me alive. Tool that hibernates when disconnected from power, paired with this encryption. You will never take me alive. Tool that hibernates, whatever this means. Which means dormant, lie dormant, sleep, winter, overwinter, lie. Some species hibernate in tree roots. Is it winter sleep? Yeah, it's quite sleeping in the winter. If you didn't know that, like, frogs, for example, to hibernate. It's pretty interesting. It's always just so nice that I just learn such a lot of words, even though I do just think that I'm gonna kind of forget a lot of those. But that's okay. I think that's okay. When disconnected from power, paired with disk encryption. How to get strangers to invite you home to eat and sleep. In Europe, Carl Fassman asked, how do you make the perfect goulash? He would ask a grandma, and translators would help translate. Then each person would want to show him their local speciality. Goulash, I don't know if this is actually a common kind of recipe or common kind of dish in the States or actually in England, but in Austria it's actually quite common. We do eat goulash. It is, I think, the origin of goulash is actually in Hungary, which is, I think, close to our border, or it's just by our border. And I think this is the reason why we also have this kind of dish. Might be the reason, we do just have a lot of other countries bordering us, or at our border, or just near to us. And I don't know if we do just have kind of recipes or dishes from every singular country that is somehow, next to us. But yeah, goulash is great, not that healthy, especially if you just use some kind of chemical package sauce thingy shit. That's it's incredibly unhealthy. But if you do just make it on your own and by yourself, I think it's quite okay. It's really quite okay. And you also just should use quite a good meat. But yeah, the good shit sticks. Harry Crews, an author, kept no diary because the good shit sticks. Don't worry if you lose all your notes. You can just start from scratch. Joshua Skeens started seasons this way when a flute destroyed his recipe books. Paolo Coelho, which is actually, today I've actually understood, or I've actually seen maybe where I know Paolo Coelho from, because he's actually the author of The Alchemist, and The Alchemist is actually a pretty known book. It is pretty known. The thing is, it is his fiction book, and it's about a story of an alchemist, I guess, and he's just trying to, get to his goal, to some sort, or to just fulfill his purpose, to be better said. But I think it's quite an interesting story, or it could be. I've just actually began to read a summary also on the alancheng.com website, which is actually the exact same website we are on at the moment. But I don't know, like, I'm not so much into fiction, or I kind of restrict myself actually from reading fictional books, because I feel like I want to only read nonfiction. I don't know why. It's just one of these things that I restrict myself from, because it's in my mind. There's actually no reason behind this. Maybe just because I do just, want to take all the time that I'm having and put it into reading just when I read, reading non-fictional books. Because I kind of feel like, or I think maybe that those books will, I will get more out of these books than from fictional books, even though, for example, Bill Gates says that he gets way more out of these fictional books than non-fictional books. But yeah, so Coelho, or Paolo Coelho, is actually the author of The Alchemist. and probably from a lot more books, maybe, I don't know. So Paulo Coelho says, forget notebooks, forget taking notes, let what is important remain. What's not important goes away. I don't know if this would actually be nice to do in school, because I guess I would actually forget just everything, Great, yeah, everything. Just to learn all this shit, it's probably helpful to have some notes. Helpful for me, given that I worry about forgetting things after reading and thus taking copious notes. Okay. Picking the best recipe online. Andrew Zimmern suggests finding the recipe that is most specific. If someone is describing in a deep level of detail the size of the pan to the 1/4 inch, you know they have gone through it. And if they just say grease the pan, you know something is wrong. Well, could actually be the case. I'm not cooking that much. Unfortunately, I'm not such a cooker. Well, I do just cook if I have to cook, and when I do not have to cook, I'm quite not cooking, The only 2 things that I'm cooking quite every single day is my oats, and I don't know, when I'm alone or when I do just have nothing to eat, I'm gonna cook some noodles or some rice, or polenta actually, which is, I think, the second time I did polenta, it just went horribly wrong. Again. And our third time was actually pretty much fucked up. And then, my mother actually was talking to me and she said, okay, it was instant polenta. So this kind of quick cooking polenta, which is ready in kind of 10 minutes or something, which is great because the normal, not quick kind of cooking polenta is taking you in fucking hour, which is just a lot to just stand around, kind of squill. Is it squill? Or is it whisk? Yeah, it's whisk. To whisk through the whole shit every 5 to 10 minutes until it's cooked. It's not that nice, but it definitely comes up to how much water you're using, because I've totally used way too much water. And this was then the problem in the end, that everything got so soup-like and so just too watery, and then everything tastes like shit, quite. Getting feedback over the phone. Mike Burbilia likes getting feedback about bits and jokes over the phone. In person, the listener feels the pressure of laughing or responding. On the phone, you can hear in the silence what the reception is. Keep the house lights on when performing on stage. House lights let you see people's faces, so it's a connection, not a performance from Breen Brown. Which I think actually quite something that could help you, even though I do just have to say some organizators won't let you do this because, I guess it's not looking that nice. If there's some, especially if you're filming the whole kind of performance or something, I guess it would just really distract from the stage itself. If you can see everything in a room, and it just really way more directed the view of the viewer that is actually kind of watching this recorded thing, if there's only light on the stage and they can basically only see the stage performance. But sometimes that I often see is that Gary Vee, when he's on stage, he often does this one. He's covering his eyes, with his forearm actually, so that he can actually see the people, when they're raising their hands or something like this. Which I was then often quite thinking about, what is he doing? Until I've just realized, okay, he's just trying to see something, because it must be extremely fucking bright when you're on the fucking stage, Cooking as bonding. You start with strangers, but when you're cooking, everyone's focused on the same goal of creating a project together and not losing their fingers. Everyone can contribute a different skill set. The uncaged tiger, a tiger named Mohino, was held in a 10 by 10 foot cage for 5 or 10 years. She was released into a big pasture, but then spent the rest of her life in a corner 10 by 10 feet area. Even when you have freedom, you might put artificial barriers for yourself. It's really sad. It's just really sad to see that, especially those animals, we do not have a lot from any longer. Unfortunately, that they are treated like this, which is just, I don't know what the purpose of this tiger was. Maybe it was for a circus or something, or just, to show it in a zoo. Could actually be the case. But I don't know, if not, just, really fucked up. But still, whether it was for circus or for some zoo or whatever, it shouldn't be the case. It really shouldn't be the case. We do not want to be held in cages like this as well. So why would you do it with animals? I don't know. I really don't. And I think this is maybe due to a lack of empathy that a lot of people seem to have. Even though for me, it's like, I do quite understand about myself that I'm empathetic, but I'm pathetic. Joke. That I'm empathetic, but I don't know, like, I really don't want to judge the people by the outside because I don't actually know what they are thinking. So I don't know. But what I know is that empathy is just something that could really help you doing your stuff. Whatever you're doing, empathy, I think, could definitely help you. But yeah, this is actually it with that episode, I guess. Even though, afterwards I think I'll probably gonna go ahead with the whole thing because I'm just into this mood of kind of doing this and whatsoever, and talking is I'm talking incredibly well today, which is, always pretty nice. If I do understand about myself, okay, I'm doing good today. Everything is fine today. It's quite great. It's just, great to see, great to have, great to feel. It's making me happy. But yeah, I wish you the best health, wealth, happiness, and fucking success. And I also hope that you're going to remind yourself on how you're going to be remembered, which basically means your legacy. Because you have it in your hands. You have it in your hands how you're going to be remembered and whether you're going to be remembered as a bad person or actually as a good person. Or something in between, who knows. But you definitely have it in your hands. Yeah, even though some people, but it doesn't come up to all the people. Some people just won't like you anyway. Even though you're the most happy and the most friendly or the friendliest person on the fucking planet, they're still gonna be like, I don't like him. Out of some weird kind of reasons. But that's okay. We can't please every fucking one, especially also not with our products. But with that being said, I wish you a very great day and I thank you very much for watching and or listening, and I'll see you the next time.